Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, continuing on with Kaiserreich. I haven't gotten a huge amount done this month. I haven't gotten an episode of this out in a while. It's been a busy month, and there was a couple of videos to make on Crusader Kings 3 and a couple of videos over on the secondary channel on Sandwalkers and a couple of other demos and indie games I've been playing, so do check those out in the description. But we're going to continue on. The Weltkrieg is hotting up. We have forces deployed in Holland, in France, and we have our forces still here in the Ottoman Empire. And I think it's about time that we appoint a field marshal. I didn't know you could do this, but El Daddy pointed out in the comments of the last video that it might be a good idea. So I should be able to appoint, and we'll drag all of our forces in here. So this is the Egyptian command. I think we're going to appoint the man, the myth, the war hero, Cathal Brugha, as field marshal over the campaign in Egypt. I would have probably, if I'd known this, I would have probably promoted Tom Barry to field marshal. And we can give him a couple of traits. We'll give him infantry expert. Charismatic, Cathal Brugha. Offensive doctrine. I'm not even reading these. I'm just going off of what I think Cathal Brugha would, what I think would best suit him. And over here on the Western Front, we have Rory O'Connor and we have Daniel Hogan bringing some forces in to assist with cleaning up this bit of an invasion. So here, I think we're going to put Liam Lynch in charge. So Lynch was over the forces in Ireland. I don't actually have anyone commanding them at the moment. I'm just rebuilding some forces. Do you know what? That's fine. That's fine. They can stay there as they are at the moment. The other thing that we need to take into consideration, it is December of 1940, and I believe the next election is coming up in February of 1941. So at the moment, we're working on... Where's it gone to? There we go. Pursue limited motorization, and very shortly we are going to see the 1941 elections open up. And if Collins can maintain power, and I have no doubt that he will, we're going to be going down chunks of this tree. So I'm not too sure. We might get one... We'll probably get one or two. We'll get this one finished and maybe one more done before the 41 election kicks in. So Hogan's forces have just arrived outside of Amsterdam, but it looks like it's going to be a hard push on the Commune of France, which is holding this position. So I don't think there's going to be a breakthrough. I thought we'd get this mopped up quickly and send them south to rendezvous with the other forces. I don't think that's going to be happening for a while. We've achieved limited motorization, and I think what we're going to go for next, it's going to give us 35 days just leading up to, close enough to the end of January, start of February, Emmet's Epitaph. This is going to give us a massive amount of political power, which we don't really need, stability, which we don't really need, but most importantly, if Ireland remains neutral in the Weltkrieg, which we are, its volunteers will receive 10% attack and 10% division defense. And we badly need that defense and attack bonus, particularly the attack bonus, because we're not managing to push through anywhere. Hugo McNeil, just short of bringing his forces to the Cairo front. He's got an achy belly, the poor man. I think it's Austria decided to try and push across, and it has succeeded. We joined up with them, pushed across with them, and we've actually managed to extend the line for the first time in a very, very long time. Now, it doesn't really matter if Hugo has a grumbly tumbly or not, because his main objective was to bring these forces over and assign them to Tom Barry. And that is done. So Tom Barry now has a full complement of 7 divisions under his command. And Hugo McNeil has been sent back to Ireland to recuperate. We've received news of the death of James Joyce. Michael Collins has released a brief statement on the passing of the renowned Irish author who died in communist France. So we have some trouble trying to get Ulysses published. Spent a period of time in Switzerland, then the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and eventually the Commune of France to avoid legal trouble in Ireland. He was being sued over the contents of Ulysses, so he's passed away. Apparently a bit of an embarrassment for the Irish government. We've lost stability. We have completed Robert Emmet's epitaph, whether he wanted it or not, when my country takes her place amongst the nations of the Weltkrieg. Then and not till then, let my epitaph be written. So we get division attack 10% and defense 10%, which is going to be very helpful to us. I think we're going to hold off on actually doing anything, because I imagine, well, that's going to kick in automatically. Will it? It has completion of 42 days. We'll hold off, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. And what tomorrow brings is a hefty assault from the Egyptian forces. I'm not too sure we're in a position to hold it. It looks like we will, and we have indeed. And bless them, the Austrians are making another push. It doesn't look great, and they have actually abandoned that. And the results of the 1941 general election are in. And Michael Collins has been re-elected as president for the next 4 years. So Sinn Féin will remain the ruling party, change in popularity of authoritarian democracy 5%. Not that we need it. And Richard Mulcahy becomes second in command with a variety of effects, and we've unlocked the straight road is the shortest. So there we go, the 1941 elections have been completed, and the Sinn Féin tree unlocked. The shortest road, or the straight road is the shortest road is the straightest. Now we could go for an international port of Belfast, 42 days. Local supplies, max factories in state, and ship repair speed, or Father of the Republic. And we would get an event to commemorate Arthur Griffith. So it looks like Griffith has died in this timeline as well. His IRL death in August of 1922 is partially to blame for or can be blamed on the tremendous amount of stress that he was under at the time. But we'll unlock this and we'll see what direction it's going to take us in. While people may credit Wolfe Tone as the originator of Irish republicanism and Padraig Pearse for its revitalisation, without the great Arthur Griffith, it is hard to imagine how the modern Irish state could exist. The impact of this Irish hero, the impact that he has had on the nation, has often been discounted. But to ensure his recognition, it is time for the government to lead the charge on commemorating his accomplishments. And another thing we're going to do at this point in time is shove our early mobilization up to partial mobilization. Are we making a push on Amsterdam? No? Okay. And as the attack on Amsterdam fails, Collins commits himself to staying the course and to not becoming complacent with his re-election, considering the incumbent government's handling of the Ulster crisis, where they prevented the civil unrest in the north from escalating to all-out civil war, while also maintaining the rule of law and allowing civilian government to remain paramount. Their victory in the elections was considered by some to be a foregone conclusion. And Collins at the helm, the threat of radicalism has all but passed, and the next 4 years will likely see the gradual removal of previous restrictions, should outside conditions allow. There is plenty of work to be done. Now it is looking like we're actually going to be pushed back, but what we're going to try and do is maybe push here and straighten up this line a bit. Divils, are they actually going to hold that position? We're not going to get an encirclement on them. But if we could push to the Egyptian Shannon. I don't think we're going to be able to. Maybe we can. There we go. That straightened things out a bit. Success on the Cairo front, not so on the Holland or French front. However, we have completed Father of the Republic. We'll zoom out a bit with all the shouting and the noise going on in the background. So we're going to get an event commemorating Griffith. We can adopt the Bismarck model, which is going to decrease political power, and it's going to hit our enemies, basically. We can sidestep the church, which is probably something we're going to look at. However, we would need to have a port in Belfast, first of all, to do that. And we can start to wander down in this direction, either towards the eternal vigilance of the big fellow or representative national government. However, to achieve either of those, I believe, first of all, we need to promote religious pluralism. Here is our monument to Arthur Griffith, who supported the dual monarchy. Fell out of favour after the events of 1916, and seeing the rising tide of republicanism and popular support, stepped aside and allowed Sinn Féin to be used for independence. And in front of Leinster House, where a statue of Queen Victoria once sat, that has been removed, possibly sent off to Australia, as in IRL. And it's been replaced with a statue of Griffith. The brightest flames burn the fastest, and few burned brighter than Griffith, so there we get our stability back that we lost on the death of James Joyce. There's a bit of a push going on here. It was initially going bad. Is it going well? There's a good strong push on in this direction from the German forces, so they're making good ground. So we've kind of decided to push in unison with them. There's a bit of a move. That is fantastic. I didn't know there was an actual bike rider model, but there you go. Another planned attack on Amsterdam. Doesn't look like it's gonna work. We got some... Oh boys, we got some dancing going on. Well, things mightn't be going great for us. However, the Empire of Japan and Tibet have won a major victory over on this side of the world. And so Ireland takes its place in the world. Unhampered by undue foreign influence, Ireland possesses the resources necessary to carry out the development of a volunteer scheme in full, and in doing so presents itself as an example to the world. So 10% division attack and defense, now we get those. And it's good timing as well. There's a bit of progress being made down in this direction. We're helping. We've unlocked the promotion of religious pluralism. And what we're going to do briefly, I think, is head back to the military focus, mass adopt radio technology. What I'm mostly interested in here is that Sean Russell will be improved as a member of the military high command. So their supply consumption, if I'm correct, is going to go down even further, and that's one of the important tasks that he's doing at the moment. And we are facing supply problems on the Western Front. Now, we've started with our 10% division attack bonus. We've started another attack across the Egyptian Shannon, and it looks to be going well at the moment. The attack is briefly interrupted for the celebration of the 1916 Rising. Political power goes up by 5. And there we go, we've managed to push across again. We have some attacks coming in against us, which we are going to be able to resist. Look at this for a bulky force just sitting on its arse way back here doing nothing. Now we might actually be able to push to the south of Alexandria. We have attacks coming in to the north, and bless them, I think the Austrians are trying to push across in this direction again. And we also have a Grand Battle Plan doctrine available to us, Grand Assault. So breakthrough plus 10%, soft attack plus 5%, and enables the tactic well-planned attack. No idea what that means. Probably going to go for the Assault Doctrine or Infantry Offensive. Do you know what? I'd say we'll go for the Infantry Offensive. Back on the European front, we were doing well for a while. There's an attack coming in against us. And we were doing well on that attack there for a while, but that seems to be faltering. And we can hear the engines failing to start as we run out of petrol and diesel, and that's hopefully what Sean Russell is going to take care of when he is upgraded. Things are going a bit better here in Cairo, however. Again, we've pushed to the outskirts of Alexandria. I don't think we're going to be able to get... we're going to be able to encircle any troops, but we continue to push across the Egyptian Shannon. We could try and push down in this direction. I don't know, is that the greatest of ideas? We're stretching the line, but if the Austrians are going to come down this way, we'd better give them a helping hand. So for years and years and years, this line has failed to move at all, and now we are seeing a considerable movement. Because of the way everything's gone, we're actually taking a substantial amount of attrition at the moment, so we're going to try and push on Alexandria, but we've opened up a pretty lengthy front. If you lads moved into Cairo, it'd be a lot better. It looks like it's going to be a fairly hard push on Alexandria, / we're not going to be able to push on Alexandria. Though we have managed to whittle down their forces, they are bringing in some more. Or they're trying to get some forces in from this side. And I think our forces are withdrawing as they are being driven back from the assault. The attack on Alexandria is faltering, however we are now in a position to start pushing down the Egyptian Shannon on both sides and pushing these forces ahead of us. Is that what we want to do? Push all the ways down to here? We have a hefty force here. If we could actually take out this and just create this kind of one square front, that would be fantastic. If you guys would do something... that would be fantastic. So we've adopted mass radio technology, and hopefully that's going to bring some benefits to Sean Russell. We'll wander back over in this direction for the 1941 elections, and do you know what? We will get that port going in Belfast. My God, if the war against France ends before the war in Egypt, German forces are on the outskirts of Paris, and we're helping. And there's the new and improved Sean Russell, supply consumption -8%, so I think it was -4%, and he gained an additional -4%. So we continue pushing on down in this direction, and we're beginning to hear some vehicles running out of gas, and another vehicle that's run out of gas is Kaiser Wilhelm II. And here is your new German Emperor, Wilhelm III. Wilhelm II dying just as Paris is about to be encircled. They have a bit more work to do, but they're getting there. So we're making another push on the outskirts of Alexandria, and we have managed to encircle it, and I think potentially cause some problems for ourselves. Well, we only had this area for a very brief period of time. We've been pushed right back out of it, and they're making... Alexandria is trying to push on our position here. That would be problematic, because you guys aren't going to do anything. If that position falls, Cairo is just open to be taken. And our southern push looks like it is coming to a halt. So we don't really have the forces to continue pushing in this direction. So another push has managed to take the outskirts, the west of Alexandria. I think we have some forces pushing on Alexandria, and we have Alexandria pushing out onto our forces. We're going to hold that. So another assault has been made on the west of Alexandria. I thought we'd actually lost it. It's not looking great. We might actually manage to hold on. So I thought we'd lost it a few moments ago, but somehow managed to hold on. But yeah, if we could take Alexandria, so fair play. The Ottomans have finally brought some forces up to hold and reinforce this area. For years, we had absolutely no movement. I think, when did we start? When did we become involved in this war? 39? Earlier? Absolutely no movement whatsoever. And finally, we're seeing a massive push in the last couple of months. And what a stunning indictment this is. Indeed, Alexandria has managed to hold out longer than Paris. Paris has fallen. And the Second Weltkrieg, it seems, sees a similar ending to the first. Could this be the end of the war? Paris has fallen. The Cairo offensive grinds to a halt. But Belfast is on the way up. It has a new port, a variety of different initiatives. Espouse cosmopolitanism. Not exactly beneficial for the current military engagement that we're on. Our existing political reforms will be combined into a single national spirit. It will add the Party of Law and Order, which grants daily political power gain, stability minus 5%, party popularity stability modifier goes up, research speed, production efficiency growth, and I believe this is the last thing that's needed to unlock the two main Sinn Féin foci. I've been giving out about them a lot, but in fairness, the Austrians are the only ones that have been doing anything other than ourselves down in this direction. Well, Austria has decided to intervene. It wouldn't be a Weltkrieg without them. And as another push is made from Alexandria, we receive news that the Commune of France has capitulated. And there we go, they are mostly gone. They're still holding on in Amsterdam, and they still have this mad-looking line here. And I think we're going to see the French Republic restored to power in this region, and we could see, potentially, the war shift to the Union of Britain next. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. So this was what we've been worried about for a while. This would be a great time for you guys to go and do something. So they've managed to push out from Alexandria. I thought they actually had a clear route on Cairo. They don't. But we're coming under a lot of pressure. Our forces are coming under a lot of pressure from Alexandria. So we have espoused cosmopolitanism. As an extremely patriotic society, the Irishness of our population is frequently stressed, both officially and unofficially. Considering this, it can be easy to forget how many different communities call this island home. So research speed goes up, and if we take a look, we'll say at Eternal Vigilance of the big fellow, the government's initial political national foci have been completed. That is now ticked, so that was indeed what needed to be done to gain access to this, and we're still whittling away the nationalist discontent through a decision. Do you know what? For now, centralization of the High Command, Army experience plus 30, max planning factor plus 5%, and we'll get some upgrades to a few potential chiefs of the army. We'll go with that. So with the push from Alexandria, and they're trying to push across the Shannon again, they have left themselves in maybe a bit of a weak position here, and I'm going to see if we can potentially take advantage of that. Rome has fallen. And it does not look as though we're going to be able to take advantage of that. If nothing else, we've probably made matters worse. So the situation here is that no, the French Republic has not been given all of France back. They haven't even been given Paris back. They've just been given this chunk. They were hardly given... No, they weren't given Amsterdam as well. So, Daniel Hogan spent all his time riding bicycles up in this direction. Don't know if he did much good. I am going to assign his forces to Rory O'Connor. And O'Connor will now be sent deep, deep down into Spanish territory. Portugal is taking them apart. Spain is being ripped apart as well. I'd say we'll barely even get down in time. I won't lie, I had no idea what was going on. I'm going to just draw a random front line and assign them to it. They're wandering down of their own accord. I didn't mean to select the whole front line, but there you go. So we're back to square one here again, which is that we've lost this area to the west of Alexandria. They've pushed out a bit from there as well. So they've created this much longer front than we wanted. We've pushed down here, but there's been no movement in a very long time. Well, at least they're not running out of fuel anymore. I'd say there's a good chance we're going to be pushed back to the Shannon again after all our advances. I think it's all going to be undone. We just don't have the numbers down here. We just don't have the numbers down here to hold our gains. And with all the anarchy that's going on, the Kingdom of Italy has emerged. The United States of Greater Austria has been having a great old time over in this direction. Getting tons of updates about places being dissolved and ripped apart. There you go. The High Command has been centralized, and we're going to go for modernize officer training courses, 50% cost reduction for land doctrine. Might want to have taken that earlier. So all our great pushes coming to nothing. Again, the front line has been pushed to just outside Cairo. The Egyptian Shannon forming the front line again. We're still holding on here. The question is, do we want to? We could try and encircle, but that's gonna start causing problems. Well, here we go. The signing of the Treaty of Paris. The German Empire has taken 25 states. The French Republic has taken 2 and has come into existence over the entire region. The Kingdom of Italy got 2. And a ton of equipment. You know what? We could use some of that equipment. Portugal has 8 into Spain. The German Empire has a good chunk. We're seeing the French Republic land, and up here we are seeing... There's the Union of Britain, but there is the Dominion of Canada landing on British soil. And with all the Irish lives that have been sent against the might of the Egyptians, never mind the Third International, we're getting another land doctrine. I haven't even gotten the thing that'll decrease the cost of these yet. I'd say we're going to go for infantry offensive. Well, it looks like we're going to get pushed back from here as well. I'm going to have to avoid an encirclement here. But the most important thing is that we hold Cairo, because I can only assume at this stage that there is a fully fledged GA team in Cairo. Would Cairo be good football or hurling land? And there we go. That is that attempt actually to form an encirclement. So we're going to have to basically abandon this front. Whatever Turkish forces are there that are doing nothing, I'm going to leave them there. And we're going to have to try and get our forces up and keep them up here. Now, I've actually brought up a good chunk of forces effectively from the south. I wonder, would we be in a position to try and march them on Alexandria? A triumph of the French exiles. After 2 decades, the fires of revolution have once and for all been extinguished. All revolutionaries share the same fate. Barcelona has fallen. Spain has capitulated. We've managed to push across the Shannon again. They don't have a huge amount of forces up here. Just as we managed to modernize the officer training courses, it's turning into a hectic rush for Alexandria. I think when the history comes to be written and people ask, Ireland, what exactly did you do during the Weltkrieg? We want to be able to say, we took Alexandria, before a half ton of people showed up. We're going to adopt the Bismarck model. One of Otto von Bismarck's finest accomplishments was the introduction of his health insurance model that has since helped provide care to millions of Germans. Michael Collins was involved in establishing, was it New Ireland Insurance? I've forgotten the name of the insurance company, so there you go. We're just emulating Bismarck. It's beginning to turn against us, and they are getting forces in that direction. See, this was the major problem. We're just throwing everything at Alexandria now, and it's not doing great. And so yet another assault on Alexandria falters, and I'm pulling the forces back to try and form a coherent defensive position, basically the one that we had a couple of months ago. So it's been months and months of fighting for absolutely no progress. On the other hand, the German Empire and the United States of Greater Austria, look at the successes that they're making. Our forces have been left behind here. We're trying to swing them over in this direction and just fight anyone. We've no idea who we're actually fighting. The Dominion of Canada is pushing down into the Union of Britain. So the Weltkrieg is going very well. This bit of a war, not so much. And we have seen a massive pushback. We're seeing what looks like it could be a successful push to the south. These guys are just still standing back doing nothing, which is great. I think we've managed to shore up this, hopefully. So our forces are being basically redistributed around this defensive position. So yeah, we've gone back a good couple of months. We've been driven back across the Shannon. We're seeing Turkish forces being driven back from the front line, and we're not seeing any Turkish forces coming forward to alleviate them. Or maybe they are, very slowly. We're seeing more coming up in this direction. Hopefully to start plugging some gaps. The Ottoman forces have made absolutely no offensive pushes. Indeed, actually, this entire line collapsed since Austria entered the Weltkrieg. So it looks like Austria was the only thing keeping this thing going. The Bismarck model has been implemented or adopted. We will now begin the process of sidestepping the church. So the vital role that the church plays in Irish society is of course something that few wish to directly challenge. At the same time, there are many duties to which the church taking a less direct role would clearly be to the benefit of both the church itself and the government. Through the delicate shifting of responsibilities, we can help ensure that those roles best left to the government are actually left to it rather than left in the busy hands of the clergy. So if we implement this, that would still allow Mulcahy to achieve representative national government. Mulcahy is quite famous when he was Minister for Education after 48 for saying that his job was basically to go down into the basement and tap the pipes. What he meant by this was that education was the remit of the church, and it was not his duty as Minister for Education to interfere with that in any way, make, shape or form. So that was the kind of the ideology that existed at that time period. I wish somebody would go down into the basement and tap the pipes of the Ottoman army. And we are seeing some major trouble. The Egyptians have managed to cross the Shannon, which I'm sure they will attempt to rename the Nile, and it's entirely possible at this stage that we're going to have to prep to fall back to here. We just do not have the forces to hold this line. If these forces came forward, we very well might, but we just do not have the forces to hold against what's coming in from Egypt. So yeah, we might be preparing to abandon Cairo. So another push has been made, and our army is continuing to be driven back, and Ottoman forces are leaving. They got better things to be doing. They're off in some direction. And there is another pushback as they continue to surround Cairo, and I think we might actually have to withdraw. Potentially. Have the Ottomans deploy their forces. This could change everything. So we've seen our forces pushed back, and I thought for a moment that the Ottomans had come in. I think they did come in here, but they've pulled their forces back again. I thought the Ottomans were actually beginning the process of involving themselves in this conflict. But we are on the verge of seeing Cairo surrounded, especially as there is constant gunfire to the north of that position. So we've lost a lot of our gains. So things are not looking good in Cairo, and I'm not too sure if the Ottomans even have forces in this region. If they have, I've no idea where they've gone to, but it looks like the championship that we were playing in Cairo is coming to an end. And there we go. Cairo has fallen. And so we've managed to sidestep the church. However, the eternal vigilance of the big fellow, to implement that, and I actually forgot about this, we need the international investment hub, and the only way that we can get that is if the NDP are in power alongside Sinn Féin. So we've actually been too successful. And Collins has been able to rule without the need for any other allies. I'm not too sure in what direction we want to go. Most likely at this point in time, Collins is not becoming complacent, but he has seen off the major disasters. He's attempting to reorientate international relations and build something resembling a friendship with the new French powers, if for no other reason than that he just wants to get his army out of there. We're beginning to see the war in Egypt not exactly ground to a halt, but turn badly against us, as we're pretty much left on our own with absolutely no Ottoman help. And all those comrades that we had from so many years ago, the Germans, the Austrians, they've all left to take part in the Weltkrieg. I think what we're going to do is start to focus back on the economy, modify agrarianism. Consumer goods factories, factor decreases. Go on. Do you know what? Go on. We'll take it. So there we go. We're being pushed back. It's highly likely that we're going to get pushed out of here in its entirety. Our forces are still stuck in Spain. The United States of Austria is pushing down, taking a substantial chunk of land in this area. Denmark has capitulated recently. All seems to be going fairly well in the Weltkrieg. We played our part, we did our bit. We showed our face on the world stage, and most importantly, we actually managed to prevent any major upheaval in Ireland. We played a very successful game, prevented civil unrest. We had a couple of problems with potential revolutionary organisations, Alterian Hiri and O'Duffy and things like this, but we managed to see off all of those major problems, and of course, most importantly, Collins managed to go straight down the middle and basically get the Germans to build a massive hydroelectric dam for him. What I might do is I might finish off the war in this direction on Twitch. I think we've achieved a good bit here, and I think it's going to kind of peter out. We're pretty much just focusing on the war, so I'm happy to call that playthrough here, especially as there have been a number of updates to the game, so I'm a couple of patches behind. And what I might do is I might actually start a brand new playthrough. I think Collins has done a fantastic job. He's achieved all of his major goals. He's achieved them too well. He can't even institute the eternal vigilance of Michael Collins, due to the fact that he has performed so well. And I'm thinking that what I might look at next is, because I did ask a while back what people wanted to see, and I think the answer was Labour. So the next playthrough, it's going to be shorter. I'm not going to go through the options as much. For my first playthrough, this is my first ever full Hearts of Iron campaign, so I wanted to see what all the options were and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through those at a much faster pace the next time round, but possibly take on the cause of Labour. So we're going to try and not do poorly with the early stage, the Black Monday recovery, but what we're going to do is build up support for the Labour Party, bring the Labour Party to power. And what would you like to see? Would you like to see Ireland remain neutral? Would you like to see Ireland take the side of the Third International and become involved in the Weltkrieg against Germany alongside the Union of Britain? Are we going to let bygones be bygones? And we got some other options up here that will change as a result of trying to favour the Union of Britain. So I think that's what I might do next. I had good fun with this. I do find some of the historical decisions not strange, but I suppose, again, you do have a bit of so much in the world has changed, and the figures in the game are going to have gone in strange new directions. But I had good fun with this. And I do intend to do a playthrough with all of the major factions. I know there's a lot of kind of niche things that you can achieve, and Easter eggs and things like this, but I'm gonna see out most of the major playthrough with most of the major factions. There you go. I had fun with this. I think I did a fairly good job with my utter lack of military knowledge. I've seen people put together huge militaries and dominate the world as Ireland. It's been great fun floundering around aimlessly and seizing Cairo and losing Cairo with a handful of troops. I had great fun with that, no doubt. As I learn how to use and abuse the game, I'll be able to put together massive forces and conquer all of France. Well, we can always look back to the day when I had absolutely no idea what I was doing and didn't even know I could appoint field marshals. And we managed to take Cairo, we managed to hold Cairo, we managed to put together a football championships in Cairo, and then we lost it all. So there you go. Thank you all very much for joining me on this series, and I hope that you will join me on the next one as we fight for the cause of Labour.